The one thing I think we can all agree VR needs more than hardware right now is software. But not just any old software like Angry Birds Isle of Pigs, I'm talking about seriously big games. Games that are cool not just because they are VR games, but because they are actually genuinely great games, especially if they're accompanied by a big budget. These games are few and far between, especially right now, but there's still a big list of these big-ass titles, some of which have gone weirdly under the radar, and they definitely deserve some more love. We're gonna delve into these AAA VR titles today, the ones that make VR feel like a console with big exclusives rather than just a peripheral. The ones that are seriously big, at least in budget. Also, I won't be mentioning any ports in this video, so no random unnecessary Resident Evil glazing from me today, as we're focused on those sexy exclusives that give you a game you can't experience without a headset and are also accompanied by a big AAA budget. Now then, let's go ahead and get the big one out of the way, Half-Life Alyx. Gorgeous game, lovely story, Gabe Newell's gracious golden touch, yada yada yada. Look, I'm sure you've heard this game's praise 40 trillion times at this point, and that's because it's not only one of the best VR games, but also because it's at least in the top 20 of best games of all time, period, at least for me. It's good as hell, but for the sake of bringing something new to the table, I'm actually going to talk about what I don't like. Before you cut my nutsack off, remember, I love this game, it's awesome, everyone should play it, but I wish the game wasn't so focused on being baby's first VR game. I wish I could sprint, I wish I could jump, I wish there were body holsters, I wish the gameplay had more action to it. Remember, I love this game, top 20 games of all time, so go ahead and put the circumcision scissors down. Half-Life Alyx is amazing. All I'm saying is if we ever get another Half-Life game in VR, I hope it's more like Half-Life and less like The Last of Us. Because I think that would be a generational game that would be a proper successor to not only Half-Life Alyx, but a proper successor to Half-Life 2. Okay, now that we got Alyx out of the way, let's talk about Batman Arkham Shadow. I think Batman Arkham Shadow is more fun than Half-Life Alyx. I am so getting circumcised for this take, but the gameplay of Batman is so much more action focused, which leads to me liking it more since that's the style of game I'm more interested in. I think objectively, Alyx is a more impressive and polished game and is one I'd probably recommend to more people, but for me personally, Batman Arkham Shadow is the GOAT! Also, the one thing I think is better in Batman than it is in Alyx is the gameplay itself. Put the fucking scissors down! I know you love Half-Life Alyx. I do too. I love both of these games, but also, I love Batman Arkham Shadow, and I'm not even a Batman fan. The gameplay is just that good. The visuals are stunning, which is especially crazy because this is a quest game. The gameplay makes you feel so badass. The story is hella good. This right here is a true AAA VR game, just like Alyx, and it's a true Arkham game that's so good, Arkham fans were upset that this game was locked behind a headset because they wanted to play it. This right here is a game that sells VR in a perfect, genuine way. Just an amazing game that is greatly enhanced by being a VR title, which is what I believe should be the thing that sells people on VR. My gripe with it is that it's locked to the Quest. More specifically, the Quest 3. I wish so desperately that this game was on PC, so bad, and I'm so upset that it's trapped on Quest. I understand that Meta funded this game, and they want people to buy Meta headsets instead of other ones, but I really think VR is too niche to be doing system-based exclusives. The general audience isn't really sold on VR yet, so locking this title to one specific headset creates a problem for people who have other headsets due to the already lacking number of big VR games. If I were to tell people, dude, VR is so worth it, you can play Batman, Half-Life Alyx, and Resident Evil, they'd need a PC, a PS5, a PSVR 2, and a Quest if they wanted to experience all three of those top-notch VR games. It'd be a much easier sell if I could tell people to buy one headset that plays them all. And once general audiences are into VR and enjoy the games, then we can bring out the exclusives. But now that Meta dropped the studio behind Batman, we'll probably never see this game come to PC, which is incredibly sad. Regardless, This is a big AAA VR game that you should absolutely play if you have the chance and you haven't already. Absolutely incredible game from start to finish. Asgard's Wrath 1 and 2 are some of the biggest VR games in terms of scale and game length, and plenty of people love them, but I do not. I am not a big RPG guy at all, so I really did not enjoy my time with these games. But plenty of people did, and these games are widely regarded as really great games. For me, I found the never-ending blasting of cutscenes mixed with the non-stop butt-fucking of puzzles to be a big turnoff for me and not a game I really enjoyed at all, which might just come down to my personal taste. Now, on the other side of the spectrum, Medal of Honor Above and Beyond is widely considered to be stupid bullshit, but I love this game. Let me preface this by saying I am not a Medal of Honor fan, and I've never played a Medal of Honor game except for this one. Because of that, I don't know what the fuck a Medal of Honor game is supposed to be like. I came into this game for hype moments, aura, and fun gameplay, and that's what I got. I found this game's campaign to be really fun. The guns felt great, the act of running and gunning felt smooth as butter, reloading and using syringes to heal was fun too. I love this game. I think it's really good. There's a certain level of polish you can feel thanks to that AAA budget, and I think it's definitely a fun time if you're looking for a big, beefy VR game to play. The only thing I really didn't like about this game was the story itself. I thought it was fine, but like nothing more. It was alright, it got the job done. But there is a catch here. I'm specifically mentioning the campaign for a reason. I never played the multiplayer. I originally got this game through some shady methods before buying it due to the crazy system requirements at the time. And by the time I bought the game, the multiplayer was shut down. So now I won't ever get a chance to play it. I think the campaign alone is worth $30, but you can tell why this game got so much backlash at launch. In true AAA fashion, the game at launch ran way worse than it does now. It's a gigantic 171 gigabytes on PC. It launched for a full $60, and it was a buggy disaster. This game had a lot of those AAA problems, and while they're not all fixed today, I'd say enough of them are to have a great time here. It's way less buggy, it runs a lot better, albeit still has some performance problems, and the price went from $60 to $40 and frequently goes on sale for like $30. I think this game is awesome, and I think you should give it a try if you're interested, because I know this game's reputation is abysmal dog shit, but there's a lot to love here if you give it a chance today. They put in the work to fix it up, and I think they did an admirable job. If you want a big AAA VR game to play, please give poor old Medal of Honor another chance. It's good now. At least I think so. Alright, enough of this positivity shit. Let's talk about some outliers. These next two are AAA VR games that feel like indie games when they really shouldn't. Starting with one I think we mostly can all agree on, Horizon Call of the Mountain. This game is good. It's fun, it looks beautiful, uses the PSVR 2 in a cool way, and it's good, like I said. But if we're to talk about it like it's a PSVR 2 system-selling, first-party AAA title like it's supposed to be, then it's dog shit. It's short, it's basic, it's lame with a little more sauce. This game is so painfully just okay. It essentially is just the climb with combat sections, which is so lame for a first-party title like this. The story is meh, the gameplay is meh, the game is essentially just a pretty climbing game, which isn't even what Horizon is supposed to be, so it doesn't make sense that it went down this path. It's like a weird spin-off. We could have gotten a big booming game. Imagine if Insomniac Games made a Spider-Man VR game. Instead, we got rock climbing. Like, what the fuck? And it's not like Sony wound up making a big game later down the line. They dropped this basic bitch game, funded some third-party games, then essentially gave up on the PSVR 2 as a whole after charging the same price as a fucking PS5 for it. Am I missing something? Was there a point to this game being a first-party Horizon game? It feels like this game was a drunk dare that went too far. I don't understand. What if we just made some bullshit? And then they did. What the hell? Again, the game is fine. It is even good. But why did we waste such beautiful AAA environments on no game? One of the prettiest games ever, and the game is just fucking rock climbing. I don't understand. That's one I think we can pretty much all agree on. But this next one, I know some people are not going to agree on nearly as much, and that's Assassin's Creed Nexus. I think this game is really just meh. It sort of feels AAA, but that doesn't automatically make a game good. The cutscenes are a slog to get through. The gameplay is just alright, and the game drags on a lot. Overall, I think this game is just kind of meh. It could have been a lot more with more involved gameplay, but it feels like that time that could have been spent on things like that were instead spent on making giant environments with mediocre side quests. I like this game, but I'd probably never replay it for any reason other than the sheer lack of big VR games like this, and because I have nothing better to do. AAA games in VR are few and far between. We barely get to see any of them, and that kinda sucks, because I think big VR games can oftentimes be more enjoyable than big flat games. The immersion you get when being in a headset is unlike anything you can get anywhere else, but it makes sense. Making a big game requires a big audience, and VR simply doesn't have that yet. That's why I feel it's important to stress that even though AAA VR games are few and far between, there's still a lot to play if you're new to VR. Games like Beat Saber, Boneworks, Vertigo 2, Voxel Project's one I've been liking a lot, The Walking Dead Saints and Sinners, Contractors VR. These games are awesome. And sure, they may not be as big as those AAA titles like Doom and God of War, but there's still so much fun to be had here. I have more playtime in Beat Saber than in any other rhythm game. And I have more playtime messing around in Modded Bone Lab than I do in any game on my entire Steam library. VR games are typically smaller in scale, but VR seriously does add to the experience in a way like no other medium. So AAA games or not, there's so much to play in VR that if you're thinking about getting a headset and you've never had one, you probably should get one. Sure, once you get done playing Half-Life Alyx or Batman, you'll feel like the big games are missing, but there's still so much fun to be found in indies and lower budget titles. And you'll be glad you got to experience those big giant VR games, and if you get a PC VR headset, by the time the next AAA big VR title drops, you'll be ready to play it. That's another awesome thing about getting into VR, and especially PC VR. You can buy a headset now and be set for a long time. Plenty of people are still rocking their old headsets. The Valve Index came out in 2019 and I still use it to this day as my main headset. But even past that, there's people who still use their original Oculus Rift CV1s from 2016. So buy a headset, and regardless of when, you'll likely be able to stick to that one headset for years to come. Just don't buy some weird ass controller like the Vive controllers, please, because I'm so sick of seeing Steam reviews where somebody goes, "Why doesn't this game support Vive? You don't have a thumbstick!" And hey, if enough people wind up buying headsets, the rate of AAA VR games will only go up. That's all from me. If you enjoyed this video, check out my last one where I talk about crowd-funded VR projects. I think it's a really interesting and great watch, so, help me out. You can also get 10% off the entire Quest store using the link in the description. It's the best way to help out the channel, so I'd greatly appreciate it if you want to see me do more VR videos. Thank you all so much for watching this video, and I'll catch you in the next one, fat bitches. Lops and kisses!